Okay, let's edit an image of an Asian bleeding heart. Let's do the first thing. Let's crop it a little bit. I'm trying to exclude this. We might need to remove some of the leaves a little bit. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Let's do denoise. Yeah, 25 probably enough. We are only shooting at 400 ISO, so it's not too bad. Okay, so it created a DNG file. So now we can apply an adaptive color with, let's tone it down to about 50%, and then we can go from there. I feel like let's start add the gradient first. Actually, I want to darken the stuff outside the center a little bit. Is that too bright? Kind of vignette. Yes, and then I want to add another one to bring out these guys, to brighten them up. And we'll do also to the other ones. Right, and then maybe duplicate mask. Something like that, but maybe a little less. Okay. And I still feel like the top here is a little too bright, so let's add a linear gradient and darken it up a little bit. Now, let's emphasize the light a little bit by adding another radial gradient from the direction of the light. Something like this. And warm it up. Negative dehaze. And maybe a little bit less. Lower the contrast, lower the highlights slightly. And I will actually add a little bit positive clarity. So this is before and this is after. Maybe a bit too much. So and also let's intersect this with luminance range. Don't want it applied to everything. We want to remove the darker areas, right? So again, before, after. Okay, so let's go back a little bit to this original one. I want to add a little bit of contrast here. This one actually, go back, increase the whites. Actually, no, let's leave it alone. I might do some local dodging and burning. Okay, so go back to here, add a little bit texture, a little bit of clarity, a little bit of dehaze, and then increase the whites a little bit. And lower the blacks a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's add another one for these guys which are in focus. So I'm trying to be careful not to include the ones that are out of focus. Let's bring the highlights down a little bit. Maybe slightly warm it up. Maybe lower the shadows a little bit and lower the blacks just a tiny bit. And then add texture, clarity, and a little bit of dehaze. And we can go back to the light here, to the sun that we added, and maybe actually increase the amount a little bit. Okay, what is that? Okay, so I don't want this thing. Subtract brush, 100% flow. What is that? Was that in the original one? Yeah, it was in the original one. Okay, never mind. We'll try to remove that a little bit. Okay, what else? Okay, so I actually want to darken these guys a little bit. Let me see if I can add negative texture maybe here. No, let's not do that. Maybe add just a tiny bit positive. So they're kind of out of focus, but there is still details. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I have these backgrounds that are kind of bright. I want to darken them a little bit. So let's do, where are we crushing? Where are we crushing? Let's go to blacks. It's somewhere in the background. It's fine. Yeah, we can. Okay, let's go back to these guys and maybe not. Okay, so maybe instead of this one, we'll lower the highlights quite a bit and bring out the shadows a little bit. Okay, so let's take a brush, reduce the flow, but reduce the exposure quite a bit. And let's do auto mask so we don't darken our flowers. Let's turn off the auto mask here. Okay, so this is pretty good. Let's take another brush, turn on the auto mask, and this one I want to actually okay, let's brighten up this a little bit. Okay, so now let's make it a little smaller. Let's do a little bit of dodging and burning. So increase the exposure slightly, increase the whites, and make it a little warmer. So this is going to be for brighter areas. We have the auto mask on, so before, after. Let's actually do highlights more. Okay, and then also these guys. Okay, and now let's add the lower blacks, lower exposure a little bit. So kind of add it where there is no light. Okay, let's see. This is before, this is after. Okay, and then this is before, and this is after. Okay, yeah, looks pretty good. I think we are about done. Let me try something here. I'm not sure it will work, but let's kind of try to add a little bit of glow here in the middle. And we want to subtract. Let's select subject. Let's see what it selects. Okay, maybe. So I want to kind of just add a tiny bit of glow behind the subject, kind of like if there was a reflected light. Okay, and then also going back to our vignette type, let's make it a little colder on the outside. Okay. Let's see. Turn this, the last one, off, on. Maybe just a little bit less. Okay. So this kind of looks nice, I think. One thing I want to do, let's go to the color mixer and see what happens if we play with a magenta. Okay, magenta. Actually, maybe want to lower a little bit. How about reds? Oranges. Yellows. Definitely want to lower greens. Okay, that I don't think does much. Okay. Saturation, let's increase the saturation of the magenta a little bit, the reds, the oranges, and the yellows. Okay, one thing kind of, let me see, maybe the tighter crop. Yeah, I think tighter crop is better. Okay, so one thing, let's go to Photoshop. I want to remove this thing, and I also probably want to remove these stems. Okay, so let's go edit in Photoshop. Okay, let's duplicate layer and put these guys here. So I want to remove this thing. How about I just clone it out? Okay, I think that's okay. Now let's try to remove this stem. Let's try to do content aware fill. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. Okay, so we did some content aware fill. I'm not super happy about these guys. It looks pretty bad. Let's see. Let's do remove. Okay, this is okay. Let me see if I can kind of smooth these guys. Okay, maybe a little better. Okay, yeah, that's better. Let's do this guy. Let's try to remove this stem as well. Yeah, okay. That's actually not bad. But let's try to see if... Yeah, it did pretty well. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is duplicate this one. And then I want to apply lens blur. Okay, so kind of soften these guys in the background, and then I just want to just paint it in here in the background to kind of soften these weird things that were happening. Okay, let's see. Okay, now let's add the stamped layer. Add Gaussian blur. Switch this to lighten. Opacity to about 20%. And then brightness and contrast attached to the layer. 20 for brightness, 80 for the... And we have kind of softened everything. Here we go. Let's add a mask and bring it down to 50% and maybe... Okay. And I think we're done. So the one on the right is before and this is after.